A new figure is going up for order, and it's one that I don't think most people were expecting. The reissuing of a mold that I feel like everyone who wanted it has already gotten it. And of course, I am talking about Mogera 94. Who did you think I was talking about? So yesterday, HIYA Toys revealed their first product from Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, and it's certainly not what we were expecting or even hoping they would show off. It is a new deco of their updated Godzilla, legendary Godzilla mold with some key features to represent Godzilla's on-screen appearance. They've got the name wrong in pretty much every solicitation that's out there, which is kind of funny. If you like legendary Godzilla and you don't have this mold, I highly recommend that you pick it up. I have 2 of them. They're really great figures, but I don't need the 5 that they've issued. My biggest issue with this one is the pink around the lips. I don't want my Godzilla to look like he's eating strawberry ice cream. And I've seen some folks talking about how the lighter lips are representative of Godzilla's pre-evolved form based on like the 2-second shot that we see of him in the Roman Colosseum. And so they're like, oh, well, it's accurate to the movie. And like, brother, I don't care if it's accurate to the movie. I don't want pink lips on my Godzilla toy. Sometimes it feels like screen accuracy is a scourge on this hobby specifically, but that's a topic for another video. One of the big surprises is that this figure is actually going to be released in China as early as next month, and then it'll be available in North America within the coming months after that, which is a nice change for HIYA Toys because their very first Godzilla figure came out 5 months after its initial announcement, but in recent releases and solicitations, it feels like that window between announcement and release is just getting longer. I think we were really feeling it for the first time with their Kong Skull Island announcement. And, people were saying like, I gotta wait a year for this thing. So for this one to be coming out as early as next month is nice, but you also have to contend with the fact that this is, I think, the 6th issue of this mold, which again, it's a great mold. I actually today just got my translucent blue atomic blast Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Kong, and I really like this figure. I'm so glad that they offered a painted spine version and a translucent spine version because the translucent spines really work for me. I assume that when we get evolved Godzilla from HIYA Toys that they'll do something similar for the Heat Ray version. They'll do a painted spine and then that translucent pink. I am all aboard the translucent pink train. But this raises the question, where are the evolved Godzilla toys? Where are the Beast Glove Kong toys? I saw this comment on Toho Kingdom suggesting that the reason we haven't seen them yet is because Playmates has the Master Toy license, and so they get, first call to evolved Godzilla and Beast Kong. And at first glance, that's not a crazy idea. We heard from NECA Toys back in 2020 that they were losing the Godzilla license basically because Playmates was getting the master license to Godzilla vs. Kong. And while that may have been true, that master license didn't stop MonsterArts and eventually HIYA Toys from getting the license. And in the case of MonsterArts, releasing product around the time the movie was coming out. But that's an issue of geographic licensing, right? Like, it's possible that Playmates gets a region in their licensing and then Bandai Tamashii Nations gets to play in Japan. That makes sense. The problem with this theory is that if it's true, I don't understand why Jada Toys would be able to do their Evolved Godzilla RC toy, which looks like a ton of fun, by the way. Why they'd be able to put this out at the same time that Playmates is doing their stuff. Mego, or the former Mega Bloks, they've also put out a buildable Evolved Godzilla and Beast Gauntlet Kong, and so I don't think that Playmates has this master toy license, and if they do, I don't know why they would let Mego and Jada Toys play with it, but not HIYA and MonsterArts when they're in completely different categories. I also don't know, for a brand as popular as Godzilla, if we will see things such as master toy licenses anymore, just because does it really make sense from the licenser's perspective to only sell one master license when you could sell dozens of licenses for different product categories and bring in extra money? So I think that idea is pretty firmly out the window in my humble opinion. A more realistic theory, in my personal opinion, is that these different companies have been given different assets over different timelines. When Playmates first showed off their banner at New York Toy Fair 2023, the banner they showed off had older versions of Kong and Godzilla from 2021. And so I can imagine a reality where these were the assets given to MonsterArts, to HIYA Toys to say, yet these versions of the characters appear in this movie. And that might not have been Legendary being coy about it. It's just that, you know, marketing and trailer timelines and when decisions get made are very different than merchandising. Merchandising, we know, exists on a timeline where you need to be starting these things 12 to 14 months out if you want them on shelves when the movie comes out. But for trailers and promo material, like, you can cut that stuff together weeks before you intend to release them. It's possible that Legendary said, hey, we're not going to feature Evolved Godzilla and Beast Gauntlet Kong in the promotional material. We want to keep it more of a surprise, before eventually deciding that, like, no, we want to showcase these new designs because we think that it'll get people excited for the movie. To that end, Legendary might have given these assets of what these characters will look like to Playmates well in advance of deciding whether or not they would be featured in the promo material. One example of these different timelines not really matching up was something we saw with Spider-Man No Way Home. In the movie, Peter has his black and gold suit, which is pretty much consistently black and gold throughout the whole design. But when the figure landed on toy shelves in the months leading up to the movie, the actual figure had red arms instead of black and gold. Hot Toys was able to correct their figure in time for mass production, but this figure had to be available when the movie came out, and so Hasbro didn't have a chance to update their files or their production when it turned out that the movie would have a different version of the suit. And this is just, unfortunately, one of the follies of merchandising and promotional being on two very, very different timelines. I guess with the reveal of this Godzilla figure from HIYA Toys, that would mean that there will be another issue of Kong following fairly shortly. I guess it'll be a reissue of their original Kong figure, which from what I understand wasn't received too terribly well. Not that it was bad, it was just underwhelming, I think, in comparison to the Godzilla. I mean, who knows, maybe they took some of the initial criticism they had and poured it into a new sculpt, a new mold that they'll have ready for release next month or even the month after. And maybe I'm just being too optimistic. I have no doubt that we will eventually get to Evolved Godzilla, eventually get to Beast Kong from both HIYA Toys, from MonsterArts. And if this delay means that we are getting figures that more closely represent what they look like on screen, I'm cool with that. But yeah, translucent pink atomic Evolved Godzilla, whatever you want to call it, that's the one I'm going to be going for. So when we eventually get to new molds, new characters from Godzilla Kong, the New Empire, who do you want to see first? Is it Godzilla? Is it Kong? Is it Scar King? Is it Shimo? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you to all of the Category 3 channel members for their continued support, as well as everyone else that supports the channel just by watching, liking, and commenting on my videos. Twitter and Discord links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.